As you may have noticed, I do enjoy me a video game every now and again. Quite a lot, in fact. Over the last few months there's been a lot of reviews of them because it's just something I really enjoy. Some would say it's a vice of mine, but they're just narrow-minded. But there is the debate that always comes up of, is a more narrative-focused game really a game? And to me, as long as it's interactive and there's an element of player agency, I think it counts. If you can make certain choices, regardless if it affects the outcome of the end or not, if you can make choices in how you approach the story, it's interactive, it's a game. If it's literally you are walking from point A to point B to point C and you're gated off entirely, it's entirely linear, there's no choice, there's no player agency whatsoever, it's not a game. It's fiction that's vaguely interactive. It's a story that you control the pace of, that's it. But it is not a game. So, before I forget, today's entry from Threefold Games definitely is a game. I felt I was given ample time to walk around a room and investigate things that caught my eye. Now, maybe it was perfectly plotted and I was catching every little beat as Threefold Games wanted me to. I don't know, and frankly I don't care, because I felt I was in control and the narrative was unfolding as I did it at my pace. There are certain things that you've got to hit and certain things you've got to do to further the story and to progress, and there are certain bits that are gated off in certain ways, but it never felt artificially gated off. It never felt like they were going, no, we need to tell this story, come over here. It felt like it was like, okay, I'm not meant to go over there yet, there's probably a reason, but it's fine, I've got all of this to explore over here. And I'm totally fine with that. I loved it. I really enjoyed this piece of interactive fiction or game. One of the things that made me want to talk about it, or really the big thing I wanted to talk about, was quite early on. It's in the first section of the game. And I know I was put up spoiler warnings, but this is really spoiler territory. So if you want just the back of the box, play it. Seriously, it's great. It's a great exploration of dementia. That's it. That's all I'm going to say as the back of the box, so I don't spoil anything too much. Although that might have spoiled it a bit. But the titles before I forget. But now that we've got the spoiler phobes out of the way, the section that I really loved, I explored in the early part as much of the house as I could, apart from that one bit that you can't go to. I went in every room and I was picking up everything, looking at everything, learning about the backstory of this character. And then she's like, oh, I need the loo. And I'd remembered where the bathroom is. I'd explored it. I'd been there. I think maybe that might be a trigger. I think there might be a thing like, okay, you've been in the bathroom, we'll let you go a certain amount and then we'll do this. Because without knowing where it is, it wouldn't really, I think, sell the moment that well. But I went to the bathroom. I knew exactly, it's that one on the corner. It's that corner room. It's fine. It's right here. Except that's not the bathroom. Hold on. Maybe I went the wrong way. Let's just do this again. Go in this door. That's still not the bathroom. And I'm starting to panic now. I have fibromyalgia. Fibrofog and lack of, focus mentally, ironically I say as I struggle for those words, is a thing. I've never forgotten where the bathroom is. It's not that bad, don't worry. But forgetting words I want to use, forgetting appointments, things like that, it's quite common for me and other people with fibromyalgia. But this was a new level, and it was terrifying to me. I did not like it. I went into a third room, and I was getting more and more frantic, as she was too. And then the inevitable happens. I don't need to tell you, I'm sure. And I felt not the shame, of course, as I would if that was really happening, but I felt terrified. I was like, this is awful. Is this what it's like? Now, I told her the other day I'd stop mentioning her, and now I think 2 videos in a row, if these go up in the order that I think they will anyway, I've mentioned her, but my partner Amy does work in an elderly ward at a hospital. So, as someone I would think has a bit of experience in what dementia's like, or at least has a bit of an understanding, I said, is that kind of true? And she was like, yeah, I guess, she's not formally trained in that field or anything like that, but it's like, it makes sense to her. And I'm sure they did their research, they got a BAFTA for a reason, if not multiples. I'll probably tell you all how many they got down here. But they did so much research in selling that moment because it was terrifying. I'm sure I'm not the only person who has had that experience in this game of kind of going, I know the bathroom's this room. I know it's there. And going back to the same room multiple times going, you cannot trick me. I know this is the bathroom. But that's what happens when you've got these, age-related degenerations, really, of your mental faculties. It's a real thing that happens to people. And I love the fact that people out there said, no, let's make a narrative game about that. And all of these memories that you keep surfacing, you're always like, oh, but I'll see my husband later, or this and that. There's notes from carers, and you're like, who is this person? Forgetting carers, I know from experience and from conversations, that's quite normal. You forget there are people who are there to take care of you. It's very common. Being told not to turn the stove on because you're going to forget and you're going to blow up the house by those same carers. But then you're like, who are you to tell me what to do? Because you don't know who they are. And, the sad reveal at the end of the game that this husband that you're waiting to come home is never coming home, in fact. And maybe that contributed to worsening of your mental state, who knows? You had a falling out. These things happen. But I've joked, and I know I shouldn't, it's probably problematic, don't at me, I know it's awful. But I've joked about, if I did get something like that, like Alzheimer's or something, the joy of hearing a joke that I've known for years, technically again, but for the first time as far as I can remember it, would be fun. But then I'm like, no, it's not fun. There's a lot of things like this where you suddenly realise that stuff you've forgotten is actually traumatic. And by being aware of it again, technically in your mind for the first time, just gives you that trauma all over again. Until, of course, you forget why you'd find that traumatic at all. Weirdly, I had an incident between playing the game, I wanted to talk about it, and now that really cemented how bad it could be. Like I said, my fibromyalgia causes all sorts of weird confusions and stuff, and apparently years ago I went to Skegness. Not something amazing, I know, but I keep forgetting this fact. And every time I'm told about it, I laugh it off at first, but then I'm like, that's quite terrifying. There is an entire section of my brain that just doesn't exist for a while, then comes back, but within a few months I'll probably have forgotten that again. And that's just me as I am now. So, yeah, this game really does open one's eyes to the terror of, of these kind of conditions, of losing all your memories until you lose yourself, really. I don't want to end on a maudlin tone, so I just want to say how good it is that this game exists. It's educational in many ways, but also a good narrative. It's, I'm not going to say it's fun because that feels wrong, but it's engaging and it feels like it rewards your time. And that's all I can ask for. They definitely deserved any awards that they've gotten, now, and even if there's, some down the line that people, do after the fact. I don't know. But any awards and plaudits are thoroughly deserved, and I can't wait to see much more from this studio. But until next time, as always, thank you for watching and take care.